Hey there, Adi here. Long time no see. If you had a chat with technical people from the web development industry, then I'm sure you already encountered some of the terms that I'll talk about today. Chances are, if you worked on a digital product, you and your agency talked about completely different things and set completely different expectations. After this video, you will finally be able to speak the same language as your agency and you will no longer have any misunderstandings in communication. Let's get to the terms. Deadline. While deadline doesn't have any specific different meaning than the usual case, there are some things that you need to clarify when it comes to deadlines. One thing to remember is that deadlines in IT are usually much more volatile than in any other industry. If the agency tells you that they have their internal deadline on a set date, then it probably means that they plan on finishing the development on that date. This doesn't include any testing or any revisions. Be very careful about deadlines being set very early in the development cycle because things can change very fast at the beginning of projects for a very large number of causes. I have a video that goes more in depth about this. You can watch it here. Now, server. A server is mostly a computer connected to a network that can be accessed by other devices. There are multiple server architectures in place for the development of the project. This can go by very different names, but I'll only explain the ones that we use the most. Local. So a local server is usually the PC the developer works on. In smaller projects, they build the app or website here, and once they have something working, they will usually deploy it to the next step. A development server. This is an external server that serves the purpose of the local server for bigger projects. Here, multiple developers can work on the project, and in some cases, it's even available to the client for status updates and feedback. Web products that are in this stage are often incomplete and buggy since there has been no testing done to the code yet. A staging server. This is an external server that is mostly used for fine-tuning and testing. The client can give access to some trusted users for testing and feedback. This is usually more stable and less buggy than the development server. The production server. This is the live server that your users access. Only after passing the Q&A and client feedback, the product moves from staging to production. This server is usually more powerful and secure and is optimized for speed and performance. Now I'm gonna talk about a funny term. Done. So this is a tough one. One thing that I struggled with when I first started my company was communicating with my CTO, Andrei. I'd ask him when a said feature was going to be done, and he would answer, let's say, at the end of the week. I would then tell the client exactly that, and then would get into an argument with both the client and Andrei, since by the end of the week, he finished building the feature, but he only deployed it to the development server. It was usually buggy or lacking content. That's when I understood that you need to be very specific when you ask about the status of a project. A better question would be, when can we launch this new feature? Architecture. I'm gonna talk about the two most common architecture types that we encounter in web development. The first one is the information architecture. So that is a process from which content position and distributions are set. It aims to allow users to easily understand and navigate through a website or your web app's content. Server architecture refers to the process of choosing what servers you need to buy or lease and the process of choosing which components of your digital product goes on what server and with what software. Project manager. The project manager, and not to be confused with the product owner, is the role that makes sure the communication is passed by from the client or product owner to the development team. He makes sure to deliver status updates, track the project's timeline, and keep track of changes that occur in the product development cycle. Developer. The developer is the person who writes the code and builds the application. He translates what the UI and UX team built into live interfaces on the front end and the logic that the client and product owner planned into features at the backend. Product owner. The product owner Again, not to be confused with the project manager, is the resource responsible for writing part of the product specifications. He must make sure that the features of the product are in line with the stakeholders' expectations and that they bring value to the user. He usually handles task prioritization in order to deliver a logical, complete, and valuable product. Sprint. By definition, in agile product development, a sprint is a set period of time in which specific work has to be completed and made ready for review. The usually planned intervals are between 1 or 2 weeks increments. Briefing. A briefing is the initial document the client or his product owner must make that describes the scope of the project. It should include a summary of the following: user target, features, interfaces, and deadline. Bugs versus tasks. This one is fun as well. Let's say we have a green button that should take you to the order page. If the button doesn't work, that's a bug. If you want the button to be blue instead of the green you suggested before, then it's a change request. If you apply this analogy to every little detail in your website or web app, you will no longer confuse these two. Change request. A change request represents a change of thought, an additional feature, or any other activities that require additional development time that weren't planned at the beginning of the project. Those usually delay the initial timeline and are charged as extras by the development team. Now, I've only superficially covered some of the terms used in communications with tech agencies, but this should be more than enough to align your perspective with your tech partners. If you want to chat more about this video, or you need any help in achieving your digital goals for your business, book in a call with me using the link below. Thank you for watching, much love.